Said okay.
Okay.
Governor, will you sign the death penalty?
Well, let me say a few words and then you can ask some questions. Welcome everyone here. And as Governor of Illinois, sworn in the other day, look forward to 4 more years of cooperation, hard work, taking on the toughest challenges, and making sure we have good solutions. So I'd be glad to answer any questions. We'll go from there.
Will you sign the death penalty ban?
Well, I'm going to look at that very carefully. That bill just passed last night through the Senate. I think it's a very important measure that deserves lots of study, and that's what I plan to do. Yeah. Well, part of the bills, paying the bills, is paying our education bills. I campaigned both in the primary and the general election on making sure that we had money for education. And whatever caucus that comes to me, the first thing I would tell them, as I said in the inaugural address, jobs follow brain power, and we do have to invest in our educational system in Illinois, whether it's early childhood or kindergarten through 12th grade, whether it's community colleges or four-year universities. I believe in education, and I think our revenue package is designed to make sure we have top-notch education. We don't want any state to out-educate Illinois, and I do intend in the coming 4 years to make sure we have good schools for everyone in and no one left out when it comes to a good education. Well, I think you need to look at the way we've put together the structure of the revenue. We have an emergency, a fiscal emergency. Our state was careening towards bankruptcy and fiscal insolvency. Even in the last couple of months, the situation got seriously more dire. So the governor has to act at the moment, and that's what I did. I want to point out that the, I guess 1 point of the income tax, 1%, is temporary for 4 years. It will fall to 3.75 at the end of that time. And then we have a debt restructuring that I intend to get passed. That'll take another decade or so to pay that bond off. But basically, can I, it's not polite to interrupt. I'll let you ask a question in a minute. I want to get through this. We basically have a temporary income tax to pay our debts.
25 minutes. If you do not have the proper resident,
I got to get up there. You can't start without me. Yeah, I have to preside.
Against the tax increase, Governor Quinn, what's your response to that?
Well, I have to deal with the state of Illinois, and the state of Illinois had a unprecedented fiscal crisis, and we enacted spending limitations that were unprecedented. They're hard caps on spending, and I think that people want that, and that's part of the restraint that's in the revenue bill. You know, I think my job is to keep my eye on the state government and state of Illinois, and I enjoy listening to any mayor, their opinion, and they're entitled to it. But
so this is a temporary tax.
That say that they just can't handle this coming out of their paychecks at a tough time in the economy, and your first tax plan was a graduated one. This is progressive and really hits poor people hard.
Well, the concept here is this is a temporary income tax to deal with the immediate fiscal emergency our state faces, to pay the bills so we don't have severe cutbacks in education, health care, public safety, important things that are absolutely vital to the lives of the citizens. And I think it's important that we meet this challenge and not ignore it, because our state would have suffered grievously. I really do feel that this reform and restraint will lead to more jobs and economic growth in Illinois. We cannot have a strong economy in our state of Illinois unless the state of Illinois itself gets its fiscal house in order, and that's exactly what this plan does.
4 years from now, so 4 years from now, do you support making this 5% tax increase permanent or not?
Well, we'll deal with one day at a time, 1 week, 1 month, 1 year at a time. I think our job now is to take what was passed last night, carry it out. This involves severe restrictions on spending by the state government, and that's unprecedented, and I think that should not be overlooked. It's part of the overall package. The package also includes revenue to deal with a budget deficit that took 3 or more decades to create. I inherited this. I arrived here in January 2 years ago. I wasn't part of all the decisions of the past that led to a horrific deficit. My job is to address it and resolve it, and I think we have done that. We dealt with the integrity crisis that existed when I arrived. Clearly, we had an economic crisis in terms of jobs. We've been able in Illinois to right our economic ship and get our jobs moving forward. We want to keep doing that. And we also had to, as part of getting economic growth, make sure state government was not bleeding red ink. So that's what we're doing.
Governor, we did a live interview with Governor on that. They say they're counting on a big boom from Illinois business.
Yeah. Well, lots of luck to them, but that's not going to happen. I think if you look at the statistics, the facts are stubborn things. This past year, we've created more jobs, far more jobs, than both Indiana and Wisconsin. And as a matter of fact, Nippon Shiro, which makes railroad cars, moved from Wisconsin to Illinois, Rochelle, Illinois. I was happy to be there at their grand opening.
Governor Walker specifically said they're going to regret that.
Yeah, okay. Well, I don't think so. We're after Talgo, which he decided to kick in the shins when he didn't want to support the high-speed rail in Wisconsin. I think you'll see that that'll be a big mistake. And then with respect to our friends in Indiana, I really don't believe in this, calling other states names. I believe in regional cooperation. We're a region. We should work together. But if we want to talk about the capital of the Midwest, the state that is the strongest, and that's Illinois, with people strong indeed, our friends Navistar, they're moving from Fort Wayne to Illinois. It's a big company. It makes trucks and many other vehicles. So, we don't have to, scrape to any other state. We, in the past year, have seen Ford make a huge investment in Illinois. They announced yesterday 7,000 new jobs that they're creating. Fiat Chrysler, $600 million investment in Illinois. Boeing making airplanes, first time ever in our state. On and on. Navistar growing. So we can do very well. It's important for the state government not to be a fiscal basket case, and that's what I confronted when I arrived. I've said for 2 years, I said it in campaigns, we needed to restrain spending, we have, and we also need to have revenue to pay these overdue bills, and we will. And I said that just the other day, that paying the bills, getting Illinois' state government back in order will make a big difference for our economy this year and for years to come. Well, I regret that my friends who are Republicans did not vote for the revenue. They did vote for some things like our Medicaid reform. We thank them for that, and nursing home reform, public pension reform. We were able to do a lot of things on a bipartisan basis, so I really hope we can continue to do that. But I went to Georgetown University, and a fellow I went to school with, he was a senior when I was a freshman. He got himself elected president of the United States, William Jefferson Clinton. If you recall, in 1993, he had to do some tough things. He had to pay the federal bills that were spewing red ink, and he had to enact revenue increases. He did not get one Republican vote in the House or the Senate. People like Newt Gingrich said that the sky will fall and our American economy will deteriorate because of the revenue that the president had to get to pay the bills. But, of course, Gingrich was wrong and Clinton was right. By righting the fiscal ship, it prepared the way, the foundation for a dynamic growth in the American economy. And that's what we're going to do here in Illinois. My number one job in the next 4 years is to get more jobs for hardworking people in Illinois. Our unemployment rate, way too high today, it's 9.6, but it was about 2 points higher 2 years ago, and I want to see it go down and down and down until it's far more reasonable it is today, and people have more jobs. Now, that's my job. That's what I work on all the time, night and day. Part of that job is getting Illinois state government off the mat, so it is paying employers and businesses the billions of dollars they're owed. And by doing that, we're going to have a better economy.
You don't get the $8 billion borrowing to pay those.
Yeah, well, we have the resources. We have the resources now to do it. I'd much rather have the resources and revenue, and I'm very confident. We had some positive discussions last night at the very end of the session, and I look forward to working with both parties to get the debt restructuring done. That will give us a lot of opportunity in the first quarter of this year. Well, I think we do it across the agencies of state government where, you know, you can find economies. We have something called budget for results, budgeting for results. It's a very good technique that we enacted as part of our budget reform. You look at each and every program and determine whether it produces the results and outcomes that are worthy of maintaining the program. If it doesn't work well, then the money goes. That's part of an ongoing budget process, and I have to prepare our budget for February 16th of this year. So I do want to say this is an ongoing process. I would say stay tuned to see further economies, new approaches to funding government in a way that makes sure that every dollar we spend goes to where it ought to be. Well, it won't be a borrowing plan. We have debts. We have to restructure those debts with lower interest. That's just economics 101. I actually took a number of economics courses in college, and I think the first thing you learn is you'd rather pay lower interest if you're a debtor than pay higher interest. So we intend to pay off our debt and do it in a efficient way that's best for the taxpayers. So, you know, we have work to do with our new friends in the legislature here. It's getting sworn in today. But I'm very optimistic that our plan will go forward, as it has really for the last 2 years. If you said 2 years ago on January 29th of 2009, we would have accomplished all of these reforms in less than 2 years and dealt with the integrity crisis and moved our state to honesty and integrity, dealt with the job crisis that inflicted citizens across our land, and then dealt with the fiscal crisis, all three crises. I think the people would be pleased with the fact that we're doing this.
Could you share?
Well, the Constitution is pretty clear about that. Any bill that arrives in my desk, there'll be about 60 or so coming our way, I believe. We'll look at each one carefully and make a decision. There's no opportunity to override. The legislature of the House and Senate, they adjourned last night, finally. Their time is completed. We'll have a new legislature today. I look forward to meeting some of the new people in the House and Senate.
Governor, help us understand the evolution of your, help us understand the evolution of your thought. Excuse me. Help us understand the evolution of your thought.
That wasn't very nice, Ray.
You're going to sign it. When do you sign it, Governor?
What, you mean as soon as it arrives on my desk, I was told it'll probably be within 24 hours.
Governor, back down of the 325 tax relief.
You know, I think we should have permanent property tax relief. I personally prefer a rebate check to go to taxpayers, and that may come about as we go along. But last night and this whole past week, we had to put together a plan that got 60 votes in the House and 30 votes in the Senate, and we did. And if anyone thinks that's easy, it is not. It's a difficult enterprise, and I commend all those who voted for it. It takes a lot of political fortitude to do the right thing. I think one way to look at this is what's right is not always what's popular, and what's popular is not always what's right. I think we did the right thing for the people. In the long run, our state will be a better state if we pay our bills, don't run deficits, continue to invest in education, especially in health and public safety. Illinois will have a better society, a more decent and fair society, and one that will grow economically.
Governor,